Morning. My name is Craig Anderson. I'm a member of your board here at the Unitarian Universalist Church in Reston. Whether you're here in person or joining us via Zoom today, we're so glad that you're here. No matter how old or young you are, wherever you are in your spiritual journey and whoever you love, please know that you're welcome here. Our service today is being led by guest minister, Reverend Russ Savage. Reverend Savage has served UU churches in Massachusetts, New York, Maryland, and Virginia. Before entering the ministry, he had a 25-year career at AT&T and Bell Labs, where he retired from Bell Labs in 1989. And we were just talking about the phone system and wondering if that was the last time the phones really worked well. Well, thank you for joining us today, Reverend Savage. We're very pleased to have you with us. We also have special guest musicians today, and I heard a preview ahead of the service. I think you're in for a real treat. We're joined today by guest musicians Jeff Loewer and Hospers. Jeff is a member of UCR and talented musician who frequently graces us with his music. Today, Jeff will be playing mallet percussion. Hospers is going to be playing bass guitar today. He is an accomplished and busy musician, plays jazz and rock in several music bands, including his own band, where they play some of his own music. And his band is called Sounds Clever and the Valley Horns. They play his original songs plus swing and funk tunes. Both Al and Jeff are graduates of the University of Miami School of Music, where they met and played together in the mid-'70s. So they must have been, grade school, just real early. Thank you, Jeff and Al, for joining us today and sharing your musical gifts with us. We have a few announcements. So first, I'd like to invite Terry. Would you like to come up and make an announcement about social action and social justice?
Good morning. I'm here to highlight an important event that will be happening here at UCR in a little under 2 weeks. On Saturday, November the 5th, from 9:30 to 2 o'clock, we'll be hosting a workshop, an anti-racism workshop, subtitled Exploring the Historical Roots of America's Systemic Racism. This is actually part of a process that will be unfolding over the next 6 months or so as our congregation considers adopting the proposed 8th UU principle. As you may know, several hundred congregations nationally have adopted it, including ones nearby in places like Arlington and Fairfax. The goal of this workshop is to provide a background for that process by going through some of our history, parts of it that are not widely known or haven't been until recently, about some of the endemic racism that's been part of it and unfortunately still appears to be. It'll be a participatory workshop and people are encouraged to bring their questions, thoughts, stories to it. It's from 9:30 to 2 here in the sanctuary. Lunch will be provided, also coffee starting at 9, but the basic workshop is 9:30 to 2. The speaker will be Andrew Sorbo, who's a retired teacher and principal. He is someone that Reverend Scott knew well in Vero Beach, where he was very active in work in that congregation. He has multiple degrees in history, and he's led a number of workshops on things like the 1619 Project and African-American history. So I think that covers the main aspects of it. Please sign up if you haven't already. There's a sign-up sheet in the foyer. You can also sign up online, and I hope you'll be able to join us on November the 5th for this important workshop. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. And next, I think Randy has an announcement for us about the Ministerial Search Committee. And while Randy is coming up, just as a reminder, we are in search for a new settled minister. We have an interim minister, and that's Reverend Scott's role is to bridge the gap and help us prepare for our next settled ministry. So Randy?
Right, so I'm part of the Ministerial Search Committee. You can identify us by these lovely ribbons in burgundy. But today is the last time that you can sign up for a cottage meeting. We've been getting lots of very useful feedback from various members of the congregation. If you want to be part of that feedback in a small group setting, today is the last time to sign up for it. It is today. There is one more cottage meeting, but it's already full. So if you want to join in, today's your last day. We will have food. It is after the coffee hour. See me or Amy Anderson if you want to sign up. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. And then one last thing, and it's kind of related to the other two, especially to the MSc. So as you know, we have a capital campaign in progress here at UCR. From what I've heard, it's going spectacularly well. And it's just amazing to see the commitment of the congregation and what this is going to do for us, in addition to making us a debt-free church, which is incredible because now that money that's spent on our mortgage every month, or our loan, which is kind of like a mortgage, now that money is available for the operations and the good work of the church. So it will do that. But also, if you can imagine being in the ministerial search process and looking for a next settled ministry, that gives us a real edge, because any minister considering UCR is going to see the commitment that's here in the congregation and is going to know those resources are available to them. And I think it'll help us to attract the best next minister. So thank you for that. Sorry for all the announcements. Lots going on today. So at this time, Cynthia, did you have something you wanted to say too? We're not done with announcements. I almost forgot, Cynthia, I'm sorry.
Thank you, good morning. So I have a very exciting announcement, which is to share with you that this morning we are welcoming to UCR our new accompanist, Miss Catherine Grimble. I just want to tell you a little bit about her. Catherine, who goes by Kate, is originally from Pensacola, Florida. She has served as the accompanist of the Wilmington Choral Society and as a coach for the Advanced Vocal Institute at Interlochen Arts Camp, among many other professional accomplishments. I don't have time to tell you all about them right now. She holds a master's degree in piano performance from the University of Cincinnati College Conservatory of Music. She has just returned from performing at the Van Cliburn Amateur Piano Festival in Fort Worth, Texas. Kate currently lives in Manassas with her husband and 3 children. Her husband is an active duty Marine. And Kate, please stand up so we can welcome you to UUCR.
Thank you, Cynthia. Welcome, Kate. So now it's time to center ourselves for worship. Please take some deep, quieting breaths as we enter this time of worship together and listen to selections from Bach cello suites by Johann Sebastian Bach, performed by Al Hospers.
The hour has come and now is when we gather in this place to be with one another, to be here in this place, and to seek to enter into the presence of the holy. This is the hour. We are here. This is the place. Come, let us worship together.
Our opening hymn today is number 391, Voice Still and Small. If you are at home on Zoom, the words will be in your chat box. We hope you will sing along with us. And if you're here in the sanctuary, please rise in body or spirit and join us. We're going to hear the whole hymn once through just with instruments, and then we will sing.
Lighting words are by Betts Winnicke. May this flame, symbol of transformation since time began, fire our curiosity, strengthen our wills, and sustain our courage as we seek what is good within and around us.
In our church, we have a tradition of singing our covenant together every Sunday. Love is the spirit of this church. If you are at home on Zoom, the words will be in your chat box, and here in the sanctuary, you'll see them up here on the screen. If you are visiting us this morning for the first time, please accept this song as our blessing to you. We will remain seated to sing our covenant.
things to do. Okay, good morning. Now is the time for all ages. So those who are feeling young of body or young of spirit and are here with us today, you can come forward and find a place on the floor or in one of the seats up front. So, yes, come on forward and welcome everyone. I wonder what our story will be today. Who's here? Hope is back. Welcome, welcome. We haven't seen you since we were in the sanctuary together. So how are you doing? Oh, you're feeling well, but you have a lot of questions? Well, I am so glad you're here with us today because coming to a service or another activity is a great way to find out about this congregation. And I wonder if our friends here can help answer some of your questions. What do you think? Do you think you can help Hope learn about our congregation? Yes? Okay, great. So I think a good place to start would be to tell Hope the name of our congregation. And we should have a slide up here. So let's all try to say this name together. The Unitarian Universalist Church in Reston. Fabulous. Oh, what's that, Hope? Oh, you want to know what we do here. So I wonder if you can help answer that. So if you have an answer, raise your hand and just shout it out when I point to you. And if you're on Zoom, you can put your answer in chat and we'll get to those. So anyone want to share what we do here? Yes. You can feel safe about who you are? Great. Any other answers? Oh, yes.
Social justice.
Social justice. And I'm going to pick on Ms. Cynthia. What do you do here?
We make music.
Make music, sing and play. Does anyone play games here? Or maybe play on the playground? Anything else? Yes. Learn. Oh, wonderful. And does anyone celebrate? Celebrate anything here? Birthdays, holidays? What was that? Oh, got married here. Wow. Oh, and do we have any answers on Zoom? Oh, okay. Well, we worship too, right? Oh, what's that, Hope? That is a lot of things. And you're wondering what I think we do. Well, my job here is as Director of Religious Education, and I think all of these answers are right. But I think they're all different ways that we should have a slide here for this, learn and grow together. I have heard it say that all we do here is faith development, which is another way to say religious education. And faith development is all we do. And what did you have to say, Vivian? What? Have fun, yes. So, if you were here in May when the children and teens helped lead the service, oh, and you were here on Zoom, Hope, yes? Well, I talked about this idea that each and every one of you are learning and growing together, learning and teaching in every single thing you do right here. So what's that, Hope? Oh, so you're hearing that we come together to do a lot of things, but one of the most important things is to learn and grow together. Okay? Oh, and you're also wondering what's the most important thing we learn here? That is another great question, Hope. And actually, religious educators across the continent would like to hear your answers. So before you say anything, before you share with people, please, I'd like you to respond either through the QR code that's here or in the slip of paper. And if you can do that, that would be great. It would make things much easier for me. But if you can't do that, and Nanette, I'll ask you to give everyone here a pencil and slip of paper. You can write or draw your answer on the slip of paper. 1 to 3 individual words, not phrases, or a drawing on the slip of paper. And if you're on Zoom, you can send it in chat and privately to the host. So I really hope you'll do this. And if you're doing it through QR code, our region is the Central East region, North Virginia and north to Pennsylvania. And you'll also be prompted to answer for someone else. If you have someone else with you, please do that. Because religious educators really want your answers as we look at what people need in our congregations after 20 years into the 21st century and after the pandemic lockdown, where we've learned new ways of doing church. And no matter how young or how old or how short or how long you've been with the congregation, please answer. Yes, Hope, that includes you. And if you're doing this through the slip of paper, please put it in the offering basket when it comes by. Or if you're not ready, put it in the envelope just near the door in the back or just outside the door here. And your answers will result in hopefully a unique and special decorative word cloud to come to us. And it will be used by religious educators for a new, expanded, and updated vision of religious education, leading our congregations into the future and what we will be experiencing then, maybe for 20 years from now. Yes, this really is a big deal, Hope, and you want to be part? Great. So now please respond, and children, you can finish in religious education. Please take the papers and pencils, and we'll sing them out with Go With Joy. And the lyrics will be here and in Zoom. So thank you.
Now is the time in our service when we share our joys and concerns so that no one ever has to hold them alone. If you are joining us remotely this morning, you may wish to light a real or virtual candle wherever you are this morning to mark what is in your heart. As members of the in-person congregation here at UCR place stones in the water here in the sanctuary. Let me say that because of the handbells here, as you come to place your stones, please come down the center aisle, place your stone, and then go off to your left. If those at home would like to share what is on your heart today in the congregational chat on the screen, please write to all attendees, and please remember that what you share will be public. Those at home may then read other joys and concerns shared in the chat, and then enter into your own time of reflection and prayer as we all listen to our Handbell Ensemble play our meditation music. Let us be one in prayer and meditation. Spirit of life and love that so faithfully animates our creation, we are grateful for this community that is with us in both times of joy and sorrow. We hold in our hearts this morning all who are facing any hardship or difficulty, those who are grieving or facing illness or disability in themselves or friends or loved ones. Whether shared here this morning or held silently in our hearts, may our joys be multiplied in community, and may all gathered here find comfort and calm. So may it be, and amen.
As a self-funded church, UCR relies on the generosity of its members and friends to fund daily operations and to ensure that the church and its resources are here for us now and in the future. Pledges support our worship and music programs, our religious education program, programs for members and friends, community outreach, and connections to Unitarian Universalism. We now invite you to support the work of UU Reston by making your donation to the collection plate. If you're here in the sanctuary, you can use a collection plate, or if you're on Zoom, you can use the link on the slide that you should be seeing now and in the chat box. Thank you for your generosity and support of our beloved spiritual home.
At its board meeting last Sunday, the little church that I serve part-time in Sperryville decided to end our long-standing mask mandate at the end of this month. I look around here this morning and I don't see very many masks, and those who do have them on mostly explain to me that someone at home has a cold or they've been traveling or something like that. I see from their website that the big church in Fairfax, where I served as associate minister some years ago, is ending their mask mandate. Of course, these things are based on current conditions where pandemic danger is rated low, and it could change if another variant emerges or if infection rates increase because people are now gathering inside more because of the cold weather. I got an email the other day from Uber. That's a car service I use sometimes when I don't want to drive somewhere. And the email said, "Masks are no longer required when you ride with Uber. Feel free to wear a mask if you want, or to ride without one if you prefer." Here's another example. I went down the escalator ride on the metro train downtown recently, and on the way down, I saw a sign that said, "Masks are welcome, but no longer required." I noticed fewer and fewer people are wearing masks on the train. Way less than half the last time I rode, which was a couple of days ago. It's been 2.5 years since the coronavirus pandemic started to take hold of our country in March of 2020. You remember that? We had to wear masks, we had to avoid crowds, restaurants closed down, air travel came to a standstill. At my little church in Sperryville, we stopped having in-person services for over 2 years, and we started up again only just a few months ago. Other local churches, the ones around us that we work with, of course, did the same thing. And so our shared activities, such as a community Thanksgiving service and annual Lenten services and dinners, were all canceled. It was the same all over the country. And indeed, in many places in the world, it was a tough year. It was a tough year when the pandemic began. Then the vaccines began to roll out. I got my first shot on February 16 of 2021. I have that little card that has it on. You probably have one too. I've had the second shot and 3 boosters since then. I had my last booster just last month. Restaurants are back open. Air travel and other activities have returned to their pre-pandemic levels. Masks are no longer required on airplanes, and many people no longer wear them anywhere. I wear one when I go into a crowded place like the grocery store, but I was in there the other day and not very many other people had on a mask. So are we back to normal? Are we back to where we were before the pandemic began? Isn't that what everybody wants? To be back to where we were? I think the answer to that question is no. We are not back to normal, whatever that may be. Right now, we are in the middle place, struggling to see where we are going to end up. And I would like to suggest to you, it will not be exactly where we were before the pandemic struck. I don't think we should want it to be. We can make things better than they were before the pandemic. We are now in the process of figuring out and moving toward where we will be in the future, and we don't know exactly what it's going to be, what it's going to look like. We are in the middle place. Here's an example of things that have changed because of the pandemic that we might want to keep on doing. All those restaurants that are out on the sidewalk, those are nice. I like them. I like going to lunch and dinner outside. Even after the concern for the coronavirus is gone, I hope they're still there. Many restaurants have made big investments in things like platforms and awnings and tables and chairs and serving equipment that they use outside. I hope they get to keep on using those and I get to keep eating in those places. We had a good example this morning. We've discovered amazing new tools like flashing a QR code, which takes us to a threshold conversation, which is exactly what Linda did with the children just a few minutes ago. Isn't it amazing what technology we have right in our pockets? I'm sure we're all looking forward to when Linda gets the results from the survey that she was doing this morning with the QR code. We've discovered Zoom. Whatever you may think about it, Zoom allows us to have online services for 2 years when we couldn't have them in person. That was true of my little church in Sperryville, and now allows us to have hybrid services with some of us present in person and some joining online for whatever reason. And I know that's exactly what's happening here this morning. People may be far away, or they may find it difficult to travel, or still be concerned about safety from the coronavirus. That's the way we feel in Sperryville, and I know it's probably the way you feel here in Reston as well. But we are not the only ones benefiting from Zoom technology. Far from it. Many people have done their jobs remotely using Zoom and other technologies throughout the pandemic. And you know what? They like it. They like it. They save the time and expense of commuting, and oftentimes they can do domestic chores like childcare while they're working at home, and they can do it in their sweats instead of having to put on a coat and tie or a fancy dress. What's not to like? As the pandemic winds down its influence, and we hope it is, but we can't be sure, as it winds down, many people don't want to go back to doing things the way we used to do them. We're in the middle place. Take a downtown office worker. Does he or she really need to go into the office, or can the work effectively be done online from home? If the person does need to go into the office for personal interaction sometimes, does it need to be every day? How about 2 days a week? How about 1 day a week? With the cost of gasoline and the cost of childcare, if you can get it at all, being what they are, think of the savings. And these are savings not in some official budget sometime in the future, but they're real savings right now in the hands of working people who need them most. Employers are struggling with these problems right now. How soon should employees be required to come back to the office? How often? Whatever the details of the answers, there's going to be a glut of office space in downtown cities like Washington, D.C., which is where I live. At present, that office space is mostly just sitting empty. It's empty. The pattern in the past has been for people to leave the office at 5 p.m. and go back home and leave downtown a ghost town in the evenings. You've probably been in downtown Washington in the evening, and it's a ghost town. What would it be like if some of that office space were converted into residential use, apartments and homes? Downtowns would become neighborhoods with people on the streets in the evening and stores and restaurants open for business. I think that sounds like an improvement, better than going back to exactly the way we were before. There are other problems to face and solve. The metro transportation system is facing some really big ones. Very early in the pandemic, train ridership on the Washington, D.C. metro system was down 90% from pre-pandemic levels, and bus ridership was down about 70%. If you think about it, those numbers tell you something about who rides the train and who rides the bus. Trains are ridden heavily by those who are going downtown to office jobs, which can be done from home remotely. Buses are ridden more by essential workers going to a variety of locations for their jobs. The essential nature of these jobs is reflected in the fact that bus ridership declined less than train ridership, because the people who ride the bus they're important jobs and they need to get there. Ridership is back up now, but not to where it used to be. When I ride the train, even at rush hour, I can always find a seat, usually without having to sit next to anyone else. In the past, the trains were often crowded and you had to stand up and hold on to one of those straps. It's likely that train ridership is never going to return to its pre-pandemic level. Pandemic-related financial aid has helped with the revenue shortfall, but when that aid ends, which it will probably next year, public transportation systems all over the country are going to face new challenges. How they solve them is one of the things we don't know as we sit in this middle place, which is where we are right now. I want to lift up one more thing which the pandemic has taught us, one in which we must change our ways as we go forward from this middle place. That is the importance of essential workers and how we treat them. By essential workers, I mean those who can't do their jobs remotely, but have to go out every day into the world in which many of us can keep ourselves insulated by staying home and working remotely. Bus drivers, healthcare workers, sanitation workers, delivery drivers, restaurant workers, teachers, many others, you can imagine them all. Their work is absolutely essential to us, and yet they're often invisible almost. To cite a most humble example, what would we do if there was nobody to come and collect the garbage? According to the Virginia Interfaith Center for Public Policy, the VICPP, which you're probably familiar with, according to the VICPP, 1.2 million workers in Virginia have no paid sick days or paid time off. This means they must come to work when they are sick, exposing others to their illness, or they must miss wages which they sorely need. Virginia's current minimum wage of $7.25 per hour is woefully inadequate. That's about $15,000 a year. Could you support a family on $15,000 a year? I don't think so. Wage theft is a problem here in Virginia. According to the VICPP, it takes place when employers take illegal deductions, pay their employees late, fail to pay the minimum wage, give workers checks that bounce, fail to pay overtime, and many other ways. Estimates are that several 100,000 workers in Virginia are victims of wage theft. They are usually the ones who are most in need and least able to speak up for themselves. They are likely to be the kind of essential workers we talked about before, the people whose services we really need, but who are often almost invisible to us. You and I cannot solve these problems by ourselves. Of course, we can speak up when the opportunity arises, but there is more we can do. We can interact with these essential workers in a positive way and let them know it. Let them know we appreciate it and what they do. Our Unitarian Universalist principles call us to affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Let's commit to doing so when we are served by essential workers. When the bus driver opens the door for you, give him a big smile and say thank you. When the letter carrier delivers your mail, tell her you appreciate it. When a restaurant server waits on you, say thank you and then leave a big tip. Help out these essential workers. These are some of the things we can do from this middle place in which we now find ourselves. Let us all strive together to move out of this middle place, not back to where we were before the pandemic, but to a new and brighter place, which is better for all of us. May it be so, and amen.
Our closing hymn today is number 95. There is more love somewhere. As always, if you are at home on Zoom, we hope you will sing along. The words will be in your chat box. And if you're here in the sanctuary, please rise as you are willing or able and join us in singing.
I'm gonna keep on till our
Now may the blessing of truth be upon us, the power of love direct us and sustain us, and may the peace of this community preserve our going out and our coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Go in peace. Amen.
We now extinguish this flame, but not the light of hope and truth, the warmth of community, nor the fire of commitment. These we carry forth in our hearts until we are together again.
Well, it's almost time to greet your neighbor, but before we do, thank you once again to our special guest musicians today. That was really a treat. Thank you. Thank you also to Reverend Savage. Really appreciate you coming and sharing your ministry with us today. Thank you. And welcome again to our new accompanist. So for those of you who are here in person, we have coffee set up outside the front doors in the East Foyer. You'll also find a table with information on the auction coming up, one of the biggest social events we have every year. Hope you can all come. There's also, I think, some additional yearbooks out there that Linda Holloway can help you with if you're interested in the, is it 50-year anniversary yearbook? Yeah. And for those of you on Zoom, please join the virtual coffee hour where you can chat about the service themes today. We're going to leave the chairs as they are. And after that, please go out and enjoy this beautiful fall day. Thank you.